record this, so let me pull up my slides and then we will get started, okay? Hold on, let me get my stuff together. I came from two baseball games. Yeah, so just bear with me. I know y'all all understand. Okay. Let's see. Let me record. Make sure this works. Oh, no, I gotta get permission from you, Melanie. Can you give me permission to record? Oh, okay, good. Good. Okay, thanks. All right. So I am Rachel Mitchell, and I am a lifetime 3-star diamond coach with Beachbody. I have been a coach for almost 4 years now. So, y'all, I've got a laptop and a MacBook and all that stuff going on right here. Okay. All right. So I just want to make sure she didn't say something else, but I'm going to share my screen. And Melanie asked me to talk to you guys tonight about sharing your story and doing it in a way that builds a brand, but also especially in a way that calls your followers to take action, because you guys know, hopefully by now, you may be new coaches, older coaches, I don't know. It took me a little while to get this, but I read the book, Building a Story Brand by Donald Miller, and I'll share that in the Dream Team page, but it is a killer book. I actually have it right here. Let me grab it so I can show you. This is the book. It's called Building a Story Brand by Donald Miller. Write it down. Every coach has to read this. Look, I found like almond butter in mine from my trip to San Antonio. But yeah, so yeah, right, Chris. But anyway, so it has changed my business, I would say, more than any book that I have ever read. Maybe excluding the compound effect. But learning how to tell your story in a way that people they relate to your story and want to join you, that is what we're focusing on tonight. And so I'm going to share my screen and I'm going to jump straight into it. And you guys I will answer your questions probably at the end because I get distracted and it's hard for me to continue what I'm talking about, but I will definitely answer your questions at the end. And so we are going to talk about how to get people to listen through your posts and through your stories. And so this is all about marketing. As coaches, we are marketers. We are telling a story in order to get people to take action to do something. In our case, we're trying to get people to join our challenge groups, to become a coach, to invest in their health and Shakeology, and to do something with their life, guys. And if there's anything that I love about coaching, it's that I cannot be successful just by selling a product. It's not that kind of marketing. I am only successful when I pair people up with, yes, some products, with some workout programs, with some Energize, whatever it might be. But then that's when my real job starts. My job, I don't win, I don't succeed unless I actually help people and encourage them and help them get results and break free physically and mentally and spiritually. And so marketing does not equal self-promotion. And I think that is what so many coaches get caught up in when they're talking and sharing their story. And so you have to just get that idea that, I'm going to be salesy, I'm going to be pushy, people are going to get tired of my posts. This is not about self-promotion. You need to be the best marketer that you can be so that you can actually help more people. And so long as what we're doing is rooted in purpose, it's rooted in people, then you can be successful and you can tell your story as much as you flip and want to. Okay. All right. So that's what we're going to talk about. And so I already did that. But another thing that I wanted to just kind of clear the air is we kind of fall into these traps as coaches. The first one being that, if we post, if we're marketing, then we're just promoting ourselves. That's not true. The second lie is that more words will make people commit. And I see this all the time. And I was kind of that coach in the beginning. I thought if I just share a whole bunch of paragraphs, share a whole bunch of words. If I talk about Beachbody a whole lot, then I'm going to get people to want to join me. Well, that's not true. You know, there are people who post like story posts, and that's okay. What I mean by that is like a lot of words, and that works for some people. I tend to kind of post a lot of words. I feel like sometimes I feel like my posts are too long, but it's always what I feel led to say. Then you have people who just write like a paragraph, and their posts are shorter and more condensed. It doesn't matter really how long your posts are when you're marketing, but just make sure that we're going to talk about the substance of your posts. But just spewing a whole bunch of words out there is not going to make people want to commit. We have to focus on making our messages less confusing, making them concise, not being so worried about being creative with graphics and fonts and cool shots, which are fun and important, but we don't want our message to be too confusing. And sometimes when we use too many words, when we use too much Beachbody lingo, I mean, they don't know what we're talking about when we say energize. Like, people who aren't Beachbody people don't know what lift is, you know, like, we don't want to share a whole bunch of things that we know, like insider jargon. We just want to share our story because people can relate to our life. People can relate to being overweight. People can relate to hating their body or struggling with an eating disorder or not having enough money to pay their bills, right? And so we have to think about the words that we put out there because, guys, clarity is going to beat creativity every single time. People will come back to your page to hear your story, to hear your message if it's clear. You can tell it 1,500 different times with a different picture every time. But if you're consistent in the message that you are putting out there, people will come back more than if you share a really cool photo and your words don't make sense. Okay, so that's really important too. I'm kind of like overlapping here, but creating more images or cuter graphics, that's another lab, will help people connect with your message. They want to hear your voice. They want to hear your message. And honestly, guys, you have to think about all the stuff that there is out there on social media. There is so much junk out there. There's so much marketing that is not done well. There's so much push, buy. And it even just like other junk that doesn't even make sense. And so we want to be a positive marketing message out there in social media. You know, I love Beachbody. I love Beachbody. I don't say the words Beachbody a whole lot, but I love what this company does, what it offers to people who join us on the fitness side and on the business side. I believe in it. And so, like, I have to draw people in through what it has done in my life. And I don't want to confuse. If you confuse people with your message, if you're talking about one thing over here and another thing over here, and your message is conflicting and it's just not consistent, then you're confusing people and they're going to not come back to your page or to hear your story. And you know, like the author of this book talks a lot about noise. Like, we don't want to be the people out there making noise. We want to make music. And if you can visualize a sheet of music, it has all these notes that kind of look kind of crazy if you just look at it. But when you put them all together, it makes this beautiful music. And so that's kind of how you have to look at your posts and your stories and your conversations even. It all weaves together. And if it's consistent enough, then you are making music out there that people want to come back and to hear. They want to come back and hear your story of hope, of perseverance, of overcoming, they want to hear your struggles. Just so long as you are positive and you do it with purpose, then that's what people come back for, okay? And people definitely respond to our words, and we're going to talk a little bit more about that. But you know, when you're telling your story, it has to be something that people want to hear, because people, the author again talks about this a whole lot. People, our brains as humans have two main objectives. We want to survive and we want to thrive. So when they look at your post, they're basically thinking, how can this, what I'm reading right now, help improve my life? And if it can't, then they're going to keep on scrolling. So like, as a new coach, like I was that girl that just posted my sweaty selfie. I was like, oh, I did the cardio fix today. Boom, done, you know? And after a while, that got kind of old. There was no substance there. That doesn't help anyone survive. It doesn't help anyone thrive. But if you post a sweaty selfie with your story, then it does. If I said I did cardio fix, I worked out today because I've hated my body for years and I'm done. I'm done hating my body. I want to love my body. I'm going to move because I can. Or, you know, like I think about Katie Ersta. She fought cancer. She showed up to sweat, not to lose weight, not to look perfect, but she wanted to survive. And workouts and fitness helped her do that. And that's kind of an extreme case. But you know, for me, my faith is a huge part of what I do and why I do it. My body is a vessel. I want to honor God with what I do with it, with what I put into it. You know, that is a thrive or survive situation. So in your post, if you go back, which everybody's going to do after this call, you're going to go evaluate your social media page, look at your posts. If you were coming to your page just as a total stranger, would you check out after 2 or 3 posts, after 2 or 3 scrolls through your social media feed? Most likely, if the answer is yes, it's because you're not putting anything out there that's going to help people enhance their life. And that's what our goal is to do as coaches. And honestly, that's just the beginning. Like, that's just the beginning. We get to dive in even deeper and help them survive and thrive in our challenge groups, but they don't know it yet. And so we have to tell that through our posts and what we share. The human brain also wants to conserve calories. So if they come to our posts and there's all these words that don't make sense, again, just think about that noise. People are going to automatically conserve calories in their brain. If your posts or my posts make people exert too much energy to try to understand them, then they're going to click off within like 3 seconds. Again, if you confuse, you lose people. People want to think as little as possible when trying to make a decision. And this made me think about QVC. You know, if you think about QVC, they just show you the same thing over and over and over, and they say buy now like every 10 seconds. And I mean, I don't want to be QVC, but that is our goal, to tell the same story over and over consistently and give people a call to action so that they join us, okay? So your customer wants to come and hear a story that is going to enhance their life, that's going to help them survive, that's going to help them thrive. And it is emotional. You know, people have to, your people that you're talking to have to be people who want something, who need something. So you have to have, and they give you 7 principles from this story branding, telling your story. There's 7 principles I want you guys to take away tonight. And the first one is obviously that you have to have an audience. You have to have potential customers who want or need something. And that comes down to your social media. You know, I tell my coaches all the time, I started with 150 friends on Facebook, you know, and my coach told me every day, add 3 friends. And I've done that without fail every day that I've been a coach. And obviously now we grow through Instagram and hashtags and other ways of growth, but you've got to have some goals to grow your social media. If you're not adding friends, if you're not adding people, then you're not going to have an audience. You're not going to have people to talk to. So the first thing is definitely to set some social media growth goals. You have to have people who need something. And principle number 2 is that the story really begins when the character has a problem. And so this is all based on, he bases this theory on movies. If you go to a movie, there's these basic plot principles that play out in every single movie. There's a character, the character has a problem, and that has to be solved, and it all plays out through a guide and through a solution. And so you are telling a story that your follower is going to connect to because they do have a problem. So we really have to be talking constantly about the challenges, about the problems that we overcame or are overcoming, because that is what our followers connect to, okay? And so like maybe your problem is or was that you were tired. Like for me, I was tired, I was cranky, I was overweight, I was unhealthy, I was unsettled, I was a binge eater, I was a volume eater. You know, I'm not anymore, but I'm constantly talking about that because it was my problem. And there are a bajillion other mamas out there who have that same problem. So if I stop talking about that because I don't really struggle with that as much anymore, then people are not going to relate to me or need what I have to offer as a coach. You know, thinking about it from a coach standpoint. From a business standpoint, you know, when I became a coach, we lived paycheck to paycheck and usually didn't even make it to the end of the month. You know, there was really, I was a full-time college history instructor. I'm a part-time instructor now, but like I had really lost the joy in what I was doing. I didn't really enjoy it like I wanted to. Every Monday morning when I had to get up and go to work, I was sad because I had to leave my kids. We couldn't afford vacations, you know, and some people are out there working jobs that they just don't even believe in or that they just don't love. And so those are all problems that we have or had as coaches that other people can connect with. So in your story, in your post, you have to be constantly talking about these things because whatever problem that you faced or are facing are problems that your people, your followers are facing too, and it gets them engaged. And these problems and you offering a solution keeps them engaged and keeps them coming back. If you're offering hope, if you're sharing a message of hope and perseverance and overcoming, that inspires people way more than you saying, hey, I earned $1,000 this week. But if you say, you know, we used to not be able to pay our bills. We used to not be able to go on vacation. And this paycheck this Thursday actually paid off a student loan or paid for a date or paid for groceries where I used to have to put it on a credit card. That is a problem that people face every single day. So if we stop talking about those problems, then people stop paying attention. Because again, our goal, our brain automatically wants to survive or thrive. And we run to people who offer solutions to that. And so if they're not aware of the problem in the first place, then they're not going to come to you for a solution, okay? So that's principle number 2. And this is just, I'm giving you guys some sample posts of mine. This one is relating to health. Like this is one I made earlier this year, this summer, this spring about 2B mindset. I don't talk about 2B mindset, but I definitely talk about problems that I have struggled with. And I started it was catchy. I said, I have a confession. I have always had a food problem. Actually, not so much with food, but with self-control. And I tell my story. It started in college. It ended up turning into overeating, binge eating, volume eating. Like I struggled with an eating disorder. And so that was a post that I made that got great interaction. I had tons of people comment on it, fill out my Wufoo form. And so I didn't talk about 2B mindset. I didn't talk about Beachbody. I didn't talk about Shakeology, but I shared the struggle. I shared the struggles that I faced and sometimes still face as well. And that's what people connected with. So put your problems out there, people. You got to be willing to do that. And that's what people connect with. Principle number 3, every story has a God, has a hero, but it's not us. You're not the hero in the story that you're telling. Your follower, your character, your challenger, your new coach is the hero. You are just the God. And so again, when we're thinking about this from a storytelling standpoint, in every great movie, there's a God, and who is not the principal character in the movie, but plays a big part in helping the hero come to a solution. So you have to think about like Katniss Everdeen in Hunger Games. She had Haymitch, I went blank there. She had Haymitch. Think about like Star Wars. Luke had Yoda. And so we are just the God. We are not the hero, but we are the God there to point them, to help them to meet their goals. Every single person wakes up as the hero of their own story. And this really made me think about like when I was a new challenger, even before, like I went to my coach because I needed help. I went to her not to fix my problems, but because she was going to encourage me and guide me and show me what I was supposed to do. And she offered that. She talked about her story. She shared the problems that she faced before. She talked about how she overcame them, and then she invited me through her post publicly. She didn't know she was inviting me specifically, but I was following her because of that. She offered to be a guide to me. And so that's what we have to do in our posts. And let me tell you, listen to this part. In our posts, we're not telling people I'm going to fix your problems. I've got all the answers. Everything's going to be fine. But we're telling people I understand how you feel, and I got the stuff that can help you overcome, basically. So it's empathy and authority. Like, I understand how you feel, and I can help you if you just do something about it. You know, basically, that's what it is. And so this was one that I shared. This was a coaching post that I shared not that long ago. And I talk about coaching, talk about how my story has changed, talk about how, like, we could not afford family vacations. Again, all of this stuff you're going to weave into each post that you make. Talked about how we couldn't take vacations, you know, for the longest time. And we, you know, this was our trip to Mexico, obviously the success trip. I talked about how it's opened to all these doors for my family, but also for the women who choose to join my team and fight hard. So I'm making the people who join my team the heroes. They have to do something. They have to be the hero of their own story. But I'm going to help you. I said I'm opening 5 spots for my revamped new coach training in May. And so that tells people I'm going to guide you. I'm going to train you, but you have to be the one that believes and fights for it. You have to choose to do that yourself. So I empathize with people. I tell my story, talk about what we've overcome. And then I offer to be their guide, to coach them if they choose to join this business and work hard as well. Okay. So that's principle number 3. Number 4 is that everybody that's following you, they may love your posts, they may love your story, they may relate to it, they may be inspired by you, but if you don't give them a simple, straightforward plan, then they're probably still going to check out and just move on to somebody that is offering a plan. And so the way that I want you to think about this is like, you know, you think about the movies again, you know, like Haymitch tells Katniss what to do in the Hunger Games, tells her who she has to defeat, how to approach the games, and how to come out alive. So whenever we are posting and we're sharing that story and we're inviting people to do this with us, we have to give them clear action steps or they won't do anything, because fear will kick in and people will say, well, what if I can't do it? What if I fail again? What if I start another diet? And I quit before the week is over. Our message to them, our action steps to them, lessen their risk when we give them a plan. And it has to be baby steps about how to do business with us. And you kind of have to be a little bit bossy. You have to talk to people like they don't know what to do. And so, like, this is an example of a post about To Be Mindset again. And I just talked about how people, in this, I kind of indirectly did this, but people don't count calories. You're going to learn to love food again. You're going to find joy in your food. You're going to learn how to handle what you trigger and live life free of restrictions. So it's not a real clear action plan, but it's an example of how I tell people this is basically what you're going to do if you do this program with us, and you're going to lose weight happily. So basically, comment on this post, join this group. You're going to learn the basics of how to enjoy food again. You're going to learn how to eat, and you're going to learn how to lose weight happily. So it's kind of it's definitely an action plan, but I've made clearer ones. I could have chosen a different one, but that does give you an idea of what it is. And then you have to definitely tell them, join my group. You know, this is when I do a whole lot. Join my group, work out 30 minutes a day, replace a meal with shake, and get some accountability. That's a very clear bulleted point action plan. People respond to that pretty often, but it has to be coupled with, this is my story, this is how I overcome, I understand where you're at, and I'm going to help you. You just have to comment below, join this group, work out 30 minutes a day, replace a meal with a shake, and we're going to hold each other accountable. So it's a very clear plan. So they're like, okay, I'm not going to join this group, and then what? I'm not going to join this group and be all on my own. No, Rachel's going to tell me exactly what to do, and she's going to guide me. Okay, so you have to give some very clear action steps. This is a big one, and this is one that I feel like a lot of coaches fall short on. And I can say that because I did for a very long time. Giving a clear call to action. So you can do all this other stuff perfectly well, but if you don't tell people what to do, how to get started, how to contact you, then they're probably not going to do it. People have to be told what to do. And I feel like we shy away from this so often in an attempt not to sound salesy. But again, if you confuse people, you lose people. And so you can tell the best story in the whole world over and over and over about how you overcome, about how you run these challenge groups, about how you earn all this great money, you're getting out of debt. But if you don't tell people how to join you, then they're really confused. And somebody used to share this analogy all the time. It's like talking about your kid's birthday party. You know, how great it's going to be. You're going to have a clown. You're going to have a circus. It's going to be how you show them this picture of this huge cake that you're making. It's going to be awesome. But you don't ever say, hey, come to my party. Send me a message if you want to come. Comment below if you can come on June 5th and we'll start and have a good time. You know, so you have to give a clear call to action or people won't do it. And this is one that I hate the most. If you think that might be something you're interested in, then let me know. That is not a clear call to action. That is a weak, I'm afraid you might say no if I tell you to do this, so I'm just going to leave it in your court. Right? So some clear calls to actions are, if you are ready to rock, then drop a heart below, drop an emoji below. Are you in? Drop your yes. Tag a friend below. Join this group. Leave me your email. Click the link in my bio. Those are all very clear calls to action that if I went and I read your post and I wanted to join you, then I would know exactly what to do in order for you to get in contact with me or for me to contact you. So you cannot be unclear. Don't think you're being humble by leaving this part out. You are simply being unclear. And clarity trumps creativity or humility every time, okay? So our goal is to help people, not to leave them confused or leave them wondering what to do. We have to give them a call to action if you want them to join you. Principle number 6 is show them what life will be like in your posts if they join you. So think about, wouldn't it be great if you could work out for 30 minutes while your kids sleep? Wouldn't it be great if you could follow a plan and not have to wonder what you're eating every single day? Wouldn't it be great if, you know, for me, I love to talk about how I get to worship God through my workouts and through what I put in my mouth. Wouldn't it be great if you could partner with some other women who have the same goals? It's summertime. Wouldn't it be great if you could lose 20 pounds this summer and feel confident in your swimsuit? Wouldn't it be great if you stopped giving up? If you eliminated the word quit from your vocabulary? Some people can't see it yet, guys. Some people can't see what life could be like if they did this. So it's our job to show them. And today is Tuesday, and there's no better way to do that than with a Transformation Tuesday post. Because right now, people who are following you, who are considering joining you, look like most of us or feel like most of us did before we started. And that's our picture in our Transformation Tuesday post. And then when we drop that, hey, this is me now, you're giving them hope. You're giving them an image of what life could be like if they join you. Never, ever, ever skip a Transformation Tuesday. And 9 times out of 10, share your own, because people want to hear your story and how you did it and how you're going to help them. And so sometimes, I mean, I do like to mix it up and shout out my challengers, my coaches. I think that's important too. But, you know, tell different parts of your story every time. If you go to my page tonight, I'm going to share, or I have shared partially on my like page and Instagram. I share about my Transformation Tuesday post goes all the way back to college, like 2001. That was a freaking long time ago. But I was in such a dark, different place then compared to where I am now. That transformation, obviously visually, is very physical, but it's more, I wrote a lot more about how I felt and how I viewed my body and what I believed about myself. And so that's telling a lot of different parts of my story. It helps me tell people I understand where you're at and I can help you do what I have done. And I told them, to drop their yes below, I think is what I said tonight. And so that was my post. So Transformation Tuesday is a great way to do this, to show people what life would be like. Also, you want to show people what life would be like if they don't join you. Okay. And so like, I think that this, the Allstate here, I'll give you this because I put that in there. The Allstate company has like made millions of dollars by showing people what could happen if they don't get insured by them, right? And so this is kind of the same thing that we are doing. If you join the gym, you never go, nobody holds you accountable, then nothing changes, right? So like that's kind of, I'm not anti-gym. I think the gym's great, but I was that girl that had the gym membership for years, didn't go, and nobody said, hey, Rachel, why aren't you here working out, taking care of yourself, right? I just paid a lot of money and stayed the same. So that's an example of me telling my story and showing people what life could look like if you don't start working out at home, if you don't make 30 minutes for yourself. I don't know where I would be today. I say this a lot if I hadn't said yes. I was on a downward spiral. I was 20 pounds heavier instead of being in the best shape of my life. I would be on cholesterol medicine today if I hadn't done this, because I was on cholesterol medicine before I had my kids. I would be deeper in debt instead of working towards being completely debt-free. So those are ways that I post and I share my story, and I talk about how this might be your life. If you don't choose to join a challenge group, if you don't choose to start your own business, if you don't choose to go after something and follow this action plan that I'm going to give you. And so showing people what life could be like if they don't join you is a very, very good marketing tool. Okay. And so those are the 7 principles, and I can share this. Obviously, I'll share this in the Dream Team page, or you can find it online. Honestly, if you go and look for building a story brand images, you'll find this, and you can print it out and do it yourself and build your own story brand. Because we all obviously we have one. Our struggles are all different. Our stories are all different. The way that we are going to guide people is very different. And the people that we attract is going to be very different. And I love that about coaching. So I challenge you guys tonight to work on implementing these principles, putting these things into your posts, and it takes practice. Like, you're not going to just start doing this tomorrow and it'd be super, super clear. So that's kind of your charge for tonight, is to work on a post tomorrow that implements all of these principles. Talk to people who have a problem, communicate what the problem is, give clear calls to action, share an action plan, join my team, join my Coach Basics, start, launch your business, start helping people, start earning income, and then you're going to talk about, cast a vision of what life could be like if they join you, or if they don't join you, and give a clear call to action. Okay. So that is all I have. Do you guys have any questions for me? I get really excited when I talk. I sweat a lot. I love this. I love talking about this. You wanted to know that about me, huh? Okay. So do you guys have any questions? I'm going to look through these questions. Molly had some challenge. You're right. Thank you. So, 1 week transfer. Oh yeah, transformations. If you don't have a transformation, you have some type of transformation. It may not be physical. It may not be very visual. I have a couple of coaches on my team that they started out and they didn't have a transformation, but a lot of them still will throw up a picture from college and one to now and talk about confidence or relationships or income or things like that. You have a transformation. It may just not be very visible. Okay, Melanie's answering all these questions. She's awesome like that. So y'all are gonna have to unmute yourself if you have questions, because I don't know. Yep. Okay. Well, that's good. Is that it? Nobody has anything?
Hey, Rachel, this is Chris.
Hi, Chris.
Hey, do you think you could talk about, because I think you do a really great job, not only talking about the clarity in your plan, but planning it out. Could you talk for a minute on how you plan it out and what you go through?
Yeah, definitely. And honestly, I learned this from Melanie. Just anticipating, you talking about planning my posts, like how I'm going to post. So like every week, obviously every month, I keep looking up because I have a calendar up here above my desk, but like I have my June calendar up there. And so I write, you know, like when I have team calls, what my challenge groups are going to be. We have like camp this month. We have, you know, summit, when my sneak peeks are going to be. So I have that. But then I sit down every week and I plan out my marketing for my Instagram stories. I always plan my stories. My kids are home, so y'all just get ready. They just walked in the door, okay? And so I plan out my stories. I plan out my posts, and I usually plan out even to like on this day I'm going to talk coaching, this day I'm going to talk challenge groups, whatever. Weekends are kind of free for all. I show my family stuff, but I look and see what's coming up. So I like to, again, like you have to think about what was life like before. Like we had baseball games this week, you know, like I had planned a meal plan to have these meals, but life kind of got crazy. You know, I think we went through the drive-through twice this week. You know, like what can you eat instead if you get off track? You know, things like that. You know, sharing stories. Like, so my challenge group this month is a Mommy Strong boot camp, and so obviously I'm going to be talking a lot about being a mom. You know, I'm going to talk a lot about, you know, how I used to struggle with, you know, being tired, unable to play with my kids, confident. You know, I'm going to talk a lot about, you know, women linking arms together to share their experiences. It's not going to be perfect. You know, it's going to be focused on that. So I am a person who can kind of write a post on the fly, but I have in my brain every single week what I'm inviting to, what I want my focus to be, what type of woman that I feel like, you know, I'm being led to help this week. And I just pull different parts of my story to help tell what part of my story could reach that woman that might need this boot camp this month, if that makes any sense. Bridget, I try to implement all the principles into one post, and it does not have to be wordy. You know, it can just be, hey, who wants to drop 20 pounds this summer? You know, if you could drop 20 pounds this summer and feel good in a bathing suit and, you know that you did something good and got stronger for your family, just by joining a group, having some accountability, working out 30 minutes a day, would you do it? If so, say heck yeah below. That's kind of, I mean, it's very brief, but it does implement all different parts of that story. How many women hate to go to the to the pool with their kids because they have to put on a bathing suit, you know? Again, I didn't say anything about being a mom, but I implied it. You know, I have a lot of moms that follow me. And so like that is, it's not survival, but it is thriving. You know, I'm speaking to women who want to live this life and be comfortable and be confident and thrive. And so like I kind of implemented all parts of that. I gave a plan. I gave a call to action. It was very clear, very concise. It told my story. It addressed a problem, offered a solution. What could life look like if you could go to the pool and have fun and play with your kids? And so you can do it in a short manner. I use a lot of words. I try to cut my words in half. Yeah.
Can I ask a question real quick?
Go ahead, Amanda.
So I've noticed how I love how you kind of keep your consistency going on your stories, on your post, like the scripts, the fonts, all that kind of stuff. Yes. How did you get into, or where did you find all of that?
Like how did I start to brand myself that way? I watched a lot of trainings on YouTube. I listened to Melanie, and I find like one or two other coaches that I like their style. I don't follow a lot of coaches. That's a downfall for me. I can't do that. I follow a couple coaches that I like their style. I screenshot. I like have this file on my phone that says IG stories, and I just reference that. I try not to copy people's words, obviously, but I do like take ideas and images, and then I just make them my own. Because like if I'm doing everything that somebody else is doing, then it's gonna be evident. So I put my own flair in there. And I even was thinking about this week that, you know, like for my faith-based stories, I want to use a certain font in stories. For my challenge group stories, I want to use a certain font. For my family stories, like I want to use a certain font. I thought that would even like kind of help clarify, you know, like what people are getting when they flip through my stories. Does that make sense? For IG stories marketing plan, do you do themes? Yes, I do have themes in my stories as well as for my posts, to keep it repetitive so that people, like, I started this thing and I didn't do it today. I'm going to do it before I go to bed though, just to stay consistent. I started this thing last week called Trash or Truth, for Tuesdays. Like, I'm going to give a statement and I do a poll in my stories. Is it trash or truth? And it's faith-based. Like, I am a masterpiece. I am God's masterpiece, or I'm a masterpiece is what I did last week. Is it trash or truth? And then people vote. And then in the next couple of stories, I use like scripture to back it up. And so that's something that people can anticipate. That's not Beachbody. That's not, that it adds value. It's, it's health, it's branding on my part. And it offers people hope. Yeah. Yeah. You did what, Melanie? What was that? What did you do with Megan's post?
It was the Lift 4 one. It was like perfect. Where I was like, yep, I'm going to take that. And I just like screenshotted each of her stories and then I just remade it this morning.
I stole one of your Lift 4 stories. And then I realized after I did it, I was like, that was so not me. Like, I love the way that other people do stuff, but when I do it, I'm like, that really wasn't me. I probably should have just stuck with how I would have done it. But I get inspired. That's why I can't follow a lot of people, because I love how other people run their businesses. But at the end of the day, I still have to do me.
Yeah.
And so, like, that's really important too.
Like the hype type, how everybody does like the music and the hype type. I just, honestly, it takes too long. It takes me too long and I just don't have time for that in the morning. So I have that app, but I don't use it because I just don't have time for it.
Yeah. I did it today and it did take forever.
It does. It does take forever.
Anybody else? I have another example of a simple, straightforward plan, like a list, you mean? Like giving them an action plan. I can't think of anything other than like, join this challenge group, work out 30 minutes a day, create a weekly meal plan, replace one meal a day with Shakeology. That's the most straightforward. I don't say Shakeology either, but superfoods. Like, that's the most straightforward plan that I can come up with. Melanie, can you add to that? Like, I think just giving people action steps and like, this is what you're going to do to get your results.
So is that what she meant by a simple, straightforward plan? You did a great job of giving examples. Can I have is that okay? Maybe that's what she said. Yeah, that's perfect. Yeah, I think you did get
okay. I see
what the question was that she was asking.
Okay. Is it okay to post the same post on Instagram and Facebook? I do. Yeah. I mean, like, my like page is different. It has more content. I'd go live there a whole lot more. But I do on Instagram, like, as far as my posts, I find myself really just posting like twice a day. Whereas I do add more meat, like more, there's meat to my posts on Instagram, but I don't know, maybe it's like more filler, but more like kind of fun stuff that I'm doing in Instagram stories, because I still don't feel like people watch my stories on my like page. How often do you invite in your posts and stories versus inviting privately? I invite every day. I learned that from Ashley Laughlin. We did like New Leader Conference together last year, and I've learned a lot from her. We have very different styles, but if you do it with purpose and passion, you can invite in every post and people won't be turned off. But I don't do that. I do invite every day, like page. When I say like page, I mean like my Facebook business page. I definitely am working to build that up, because guys, eventually you're going to get to a point where on your personal page, you can far outgrow that. So, yeah. How much do I spend prepping your social media? I will show you, what my plan looks like every week. Maybe, I don't know. Okay. Sorry, it is not like fancy. No, that's not it. This is like Monday through Friday. Like, I write down Monday, what am I going to focus on IG stories? What am I going to post about? Like, what is my Mom Crush Monday? Like, I do that on Mondays. Transformation Tuesday, what I ate Wednesday. I just make a list. And like Chris was saying, like last week, this was Memorial Day week. So I wrote down I was going to share a recipe. I even write down like Memorial Day fun, IG stories, do a coaching invite. I was doing a live call that night, so I needed to post about that. I needed to do a post about the live call. In my IG stories, I did my Mommy Strong ads and invites. So yeah, I do. I mean, it's not like conclusive, but it gives me a guide, and I don't wake up every day thinking, oh, I need to post today. What am I going to post about? So it's very simple, and it's all like Rachel's brain on paper, which may not make sense to other people, but it works for me. And I share it with my team every single week in our team page. So yeah, that's how I do it. And usually by Friday, the list is really short because I'm kind of pooped out for sure. And I just have more fun on the weekends because I work really hard Monday through Thursday. Like I work really hard and I learned that from Melanie. And it works for me and my family. By Thursday night, like I'm in the bed, I've got a glass of wine. Like I'm just like, that worked really hard. So, but yeah, having a plan is 9/10 of the battle, y'all. Don't try to wing it. Was there a plan like that to print out? No, but I can show you a picture of it, of how I do it. I'll give you an example. But again, it's my plan. I mean, not selfishly, it's my plan. It just makes more sense to me than it might to somebody else. But I'm happy to type up like a sample of like what I do with my stories. What suggestion would you give to a full-time out of the house? I just actually quit my full-time job, so I can speak directly to that. I was a full-time college history instructor, and I commuted like an hour each way, but I used the mess out of some voice messenger. That's when I did my PD. That's when I did my calls with my thank you. That's when I did my calls with my coaches, even calls with challengers. And so I was telling one of my coaches today, I don't miss working that much, but I do kind of miss that commute because I got a lot done. Whereas at home, like there's laundry to do, and even the boys are still in school, like I still have to do the dishes and things like that. So I get distracted. But I would just use my pockets of time. I got up early. I still get up early. Especially as a new coach, like I did a lot because I didn't have as much to do throughout the day with my business as a newer coach. Like I would just use that time. I would get up early. I would do my devotions, and I actually got more diligent in doing those devotions and quiet time because of coaching. And so like I would answer messages, I would send invitations. I would definitely, like after I get out of class, I would check my messages, answer some, lunch break always. And then, I tried really hard to be with the kids when I got home. And so like I would answer a few messages here and there, like while they were in the bathtub. I would listen to these calls with earbuds, like while they were in the bathtub, or while I put them to bed. And then I would just work I stayed up too late, too many nights, but I did work after they went to bed, answering messages. I would schedule some posts, that helped me in the beginning, schedule out some like recipes or some personal development or like motivational posts. I'm not a fan of that anymore because I think it's your feed. People, if they come to expect too much, then, it just kind of gets rote and they don't keep coming back. But, I think that is a good idea if you struggle. I know there are lots of different apps for like scheduling your Instagram and stuff like that are really good. And I worked on the weekends. I still work on the weekends. Night shift workers. Oh my gosh. Especially when you might be asleep while people are responding. Okay. People are not going to run away in like 12 hours. That's my first step. And that's when I said I stayed up too late. Like I would stay up answering messages because I felt like they would. But I would just say when you get off your shift, like answer your messages and even say, like I'm working the night shift. If I don't get back to you, I'm sleeping, but I'll do it within like 24 hours. And people will respect that. Like seriously, they'll respect that. Yeah. Okay. Anybody else? Good questions. What's one simple private message you can share for a new person you are forming? Like just connecting with them or inviting them? What do you mean by that? New person you're connecting. Oh, girl, you can do anything. Like, I love your hair color. Like, who does it? Like, I just saw y'all went on vacation. Where did you find that swimsuit? Always ask a question. Happy birthdays are a great one. My friend Timmy shared with me, she like kind of stalks the happy birthday calendar on Facebook, and she looks to see like whose birthdays are coming up. I don't do this. I don't make the time to do it, but she doesn't. It works for her. But it's a good tip. Like, you kind of stalk to see whose birthdays are coming up in the next week. And before their birthdays come, you go and you start to follow them and like and comment on some of their posts, so that next Saturday when their birthday rolls around, you're like, hey girl, happy birthday. Do you have big plans for your birthday? My number one tip for connecting is, yes, definitely, I don't connect. It's never disingenuous. It's always something that I truly like or relate to on their posts. And if I can't find anything, I just don't connect. But always end with a question, so if I say, those shoes are awesome, like, did you buy those locally, or can you tell me where you got them? It's usually something like that. Or a lot of people, if they really truly inspire me, like their page inspires me, I'll send them that. And then I message a lot of people I know follow me, and just say thank you for following me. My goal is to inspire. One thing I like to do in my messages a lot is kind of share bits of my mission statement. I find that helps people kind of understand me and understand my heart even from the beginning. My goal is to inspire and encourage women, to really do something positive with your body, or, just share bits of my mission statement. And I ask people, like, I'll connect with somebody kind of new. I don't ever invite brand new people that I don't know. I always spend time connecting. How can you connect through our happy birthday messages? Just end it with a question. Just, hey girl, I saw it's your birthday. That's awesome. I hope you have a great day. Do y'all have big plans to celebrate tonight? Just usually people answer back. And I'm not asking that question so I can be like, oh, cool. Do you have any health and fitness goals? I'm asking that question because when I message them, Facebook connects us as friends, closer friends, and they start to see my posts more. Sometimes it goes further. Sometimes it stops there. But, I can track back a lot of challengers or coaches to people that I just connected with a happy birthday a long time ago. Yeah. Good questions. And it just takes practice. Like, I wrote this down in this was my thing from this leadership conference that we went to a couple of weeks ago. Hold on a second. Let me share this and then I'll be done. And I gotta find it. It says, immerse yourself in learning what you don't know and then apply what you know. I didn't know any of this. Everything I'm teaching you tonight, I didn't know any of it. I started right where everybody starts, like at ground zero. But you just got to be willing to learn it and practice it. And it's not going to be perfect, but be willing to learn it and implement it. If it doesn't work, try something else. Okay. Anybody else? Looking at your IG, how do you make your pictures that size? Is that the theme you were talking about? You mean like the white square around them? Is that what you mean, Amber? That's called Square Ready, I think. It's an app called Square Ready. That's what I use. And I usually just, like, if I take a picture, I use Snapseed to edit it. And if I want to make it a square so it fits into the square, I do that. And then I put it into Square Ready and just upload it to Instagram. Yeah, it creates a consistent look on my page that I like. But, a lot of people don't do it, and I still like their page. So, yeah. I think I got that from Ashley Smith. Your highlight, how do you do that font? On my highlight, the little circle things, I don't even know what that's called. Is that what you're talking about? I did that on our coach training. The highlight. Okay. Are you talking about the circle things? I'm sorry, I don't know what you're talking about. On Instagram.
I don't know how to talk on this, but yeah, the highlights.
Okay, Amber. That I did in WordSwag. I did that in WordSwag. And you have to upload them to your stories before you can add them to your highlight. See, I'm not like savvy. Yeah. Okay. You're welcome. You're welcome. All right, guys. I think I've given you a lot to think about. So, but yeah, feel free. Or Melanie, I guess, will upload the recording, and good luck. You guys can do it for sure. It's simple. It just takes practice, and just be you. Okay. All right. Good night. You're welcome. You're so welcome. Good night, you guys.